同学们好. Good. Great to see you. Yep, it is the 5th. Yes, 5th of June. So last week we did Step Back and Ride the Tiger. And I'll review that again today so that you get all that down. And then if things go okay, we'll actually go on to talk about turn body lotus kick, which is a difficult move, as you know. But we'll break it down and see how it goes. So we'll start with standing practice. So feet shoulder width apart. Begin by bending your knees and just feeling your weight on the soles of your feet. Establish the distribution even front and back, and sway forward and back if you need to. And now drop your hips straight down to relax the waist. And feel your head rising up. So sinking the waist, relaxing the waist, and raising the head is lengthening the torso. Raise the arms if you're comfortable doing that. And so we'll also absorb the chest. The elbows pull the shoulder tips down and carry the wrists and fingertips out to make a circle, and sink the shoulders and drop the elbows. So really feel the arms stretching. So you've got the torso being stretched up and down, the back being stretched left and right as you extend the elbows away across the middle back, and the arms extending. And the goal, one of the goals, is to improve our natural breathing. So if our posture is good, our breathing will be natural and free. So just pay attention to your breathing for a bit. Adjust your posture so that your breathing is easier. So as we get into a good posture, the abdomen will expand as you breathe in and contract as you breathe out. The essential for this month is distinguish empty and full. We'll talk a little bit about that. That's really about agility. But the way you get to agility, a key ingredient of agility, is natural soft breathing. If you're breathing easily, your body isn't clamped together, particularly your torso, and you're more agile. So that's one of the things that standing practice helps us to do. So 30 more seconds. And we'll just do a few exercises. So circle the arms down, take them up, gaze at the moon, press down and breathe out. Two in front of your hips, then rotate the arms, open, straighten the legs, look up, press down. Rotate the arms, circle up and press down. And we'll stop there, so come back to your original position. I just have to take 1 minute. My clock has stopped, so I need to change the battery. All right, good. So let's see, it's 9 minutes past. Good. Okay. So let's just talk quickly about the essential, which is distinguish, empty, and full, and then we'll practice and we'll continue warming up. So distinguish, empty, and full is about agility, and the reason why we need to be able to distinguish empty and full, that also means to be able to change between empty and full. So one way of thinking about empty and full is where your weight is. So to be able to go from one posture to another is transforming empty and full, because I'm now full here, now I'm full on this side, now I'm full on this leg, now I'm full on the other leg, and being able to change from one to the other allows us to be agile. When we're agile, we can move. When we can move, we can change. When we can change, we can neutralize what the other person is doing. So that's why distinguish, empty, and full is so important. There are different aspects of empty and full. Empty and full is really just a taiji. It's an yin-yang. And so the taiji that we usually think about is weight. And so which leg has more weight? So here, if I'm back here, this leg is the full leg. If I'm forward, this leg is the full leg or the fuller leg. So that's weight. We can also think about other categories, other taijis, and another category is energy. So for example, let's say I'm standing on one leg. Which leg is full? Let's say I do a kick or a stomp or something like that. Which leg is full? It depends on whether you're thinking about weight, in which case it's this leg that's full, or you're thinking about energy delivery, in which case it's this leg that's full. So there are different empty-full combinations that we can think about. So as we practice the form, we'll start with the second chunk in the third section. We'll go through to where we finished last week. One of the things you can do is to think about empty and full. You can think about how your weight is shifting from one foot to the other, or you can think about when are you storing, when are you releasing, when are you absorbing, when are you delivering. Those are also empty and full combinations that you can think about. So if you're taking a practice and saying, today I'm going to think about empty and full, those are some of the things you can do. Any questions about that before we practice? No, good. So let's practice. So we're in the second chunk, so let's assume we've done Parting Wild Horses Main and Fair Lady Work Shuttles, and this is going to be the front, and we're in single whip. So it's the single whip is the section, the chunk that begins cloud hands, and then snake creeps down. So cloud hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, whip, snake creeps down, golden rooster stands on one leg. 1, 2, step back, repulse monkey. 1, 2, 3, diagonal flying. Raise hands, step forward. White crane spreads its wings. Left brush knee. Needle at sea bottom. Fan through the back. Turn body. White snake spits out its tongue. Step forward, parry, block and punch. Step up, grass bird's tail. Roll back. Press. Push. Single whip. Now we do the third chunk, cloud hands and high pat on horse. So cloud hands, 1, 2, 3, 4. High pat on horse, thrust out palm. Turn body, cross kick. Step forward, punch to the groin. Step up, grass bird's tail. Roll back. Press. Push. Single whip. The fourth chunk, the final lap, snake creeps down without the cloud hands before it. Step up to 7 stars. Step back to ride the tiger. And we'll stop there. Okay. How was that? Anything in that sequence that you'd like to review? Otherwise, we'll go on and review Step Back and Ride the Tiger. Yes, go ahead.
Not an actual question regarding the movements, but well, thinking about empty and full throughout the movements. Let's say I was thinking when you, let's say you're doing brush knee, you have a moment there, then you do this, and then you do that. So there would be a halfway between empty and full in which you're not, in terms of releasing energy. When you have your hands here, you could say full, but then you have an intermediate step, then you release, and that would be empty. So would there be an in the middle, or there would be just, I don't know, do they always have to be either one, or at some point you would be half and half?
So the way I think about it, I mean, you tee up lots of interesting topics there, Rogelio. One of them is empty and full. If you think about yin and yang, they're always transforming into each other.
Right.
Right. So yin becomes yang, yang becomes yin. And so there will
Uh-huh.
always be a point where it's like both and neither.
Okay.
So, so for example, that old joke about the glass being half full and half empty.
Right.
If you're filling the glass, there will be a point where it's half full, and in between. So yes, I think you're right. And so when we think, but I think mostly, there is a transition between empty and full. So for example, what comes to mind, just thinking about, if we're doing ward off right and we're going to do rollback. So here, this is absorbing and then this is releasing. So yeah, there is a transition here at the corner where you're going from absorb, setting up, and then gradually releasing more. So I think you're right about that. The thing about brush, knee, and push is you also have to think about one arm could be releasing while the other one's absorbing. So one could be full while the other one is empty.
Right.
So if you think about brush, knee, and
Right.
push, so let's say we go from one to the other. So yeah, so here nothing is happening. So when I do this part, this upper arm is deflecting. So this upper arm is full, right? The lower
Right.
arm is still empty. Here, I'm actually pulling my opponent away. This arm is still full. This arm is still empty, and then I'm delivering here. So then this one becomes full.
Well, it was full when it was ready to strike. It was empty when it struck, right? Or
I've never been 100% sure. When it has finished striking, then I suppose it is empty, right? But that striking is the yang part of it. So, when you finish striking, it's empty. Then it's got to go back to filling up again.
okay.
So here you're releasing and here you're absorbing. Yeah, so for me, this is the absorb part. I don't really think of the energy as empty and full, but Master Youngjin talks about it like that. So this is absorb, this is release.
Uh-huh.
And, depending on where you stop is where the energy stops, but the release is all the way through for me.
Okay.
We should think more about that.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Nope. Okay. So let's review Step Back and Ride the Tiger. And so I will go in the same direction that you would be practicing if the front is over there. We've done step up to 7 stars. So we're in empty stance, right leg forward, the arms are crossed. So the way that, let's just go through the whole thing and then we'll break it up. So the first thing that's going to happen with body turning, you're going to step back and rotate the arms, step behind you, center line 2 sides. Separate the arms, turn the left toe to the front, the arms open. Then circle the arms, and at the last minute, the palms open, and you end up in a position which is like white crane. So let's review the footwork first. So we are in the empty stance, right leg forward. We're stepping back, center line 2 side. Make sure that you don't shift back too soon. Shift back your weight, pivot on the left heel, and then change footwork from heel to ball. So that's the footwork. You start empty stance, right leg forward, step back, pivot on the left heel, change from heel to ball, establish 30%. That's the footwork. The arm movements, we're starting with the arms crossed. So the first thing is with body turning, we're going to rotate the arms to the side. And so both arms are going to rotate and we're going to end up with the palms facing each other. So we're going to go from this to this. Yes. So your right arm is sort of in line with your right shoulder going to the front and your left arm is on top. So that part of it would be, so stepping back, rotate. Now, from this step back position, you're going to shift your weight back. The right arm is going to pull down and the left arm is going to open. So we are here, step back, arms to the side, pull back, arms open. The thing that I wanted, I did a bit more research. Rogelio had the question, is like, so does this arm move in space? You know, does it open or not? So this arm does open. So if you look at it from the side, and when you're pulling back, the left arm does open. But Master Youngjin says it stays in front of your body. So it continues to be, so if I'm here, I rotate to the side and I open, my arm, you can't see it in 3D on the screen, my arm is still circled in front. It doesn't open to here. It still stays curved in front of me, even though it's gone from this shape to this shape. And in fact, my body has opened, so it actually continues to protect the whole of the front of my body, even though the arm is opening. The other thing I want to talk about, we talked about this fist circling up. It's different from twin fists. So if you remember, when we do twin fists, the arms come down, they circle and sit on the outside and then come up and in. So come down, rotate and sit and come up. This movement is different. So here we're pulling back and the right fist is actually going to make a little circle down and up. So it's going to go make a big circle, and so the circle actually starts here. So let's compare the two. So with the one we're doing, step back, ride the tiger, the circle is in this plane. Do it here. So the circle is this way. When I'm doing strike to opponent's ears, it goes forward. So it goes forward is the difference, and the other thing is that it actually starts from out and goes in. Goes out and goes in. So the path is different. Last thing in terms of the palms, you know, we are doing things with fists, and right at the last minute, the fists open and show the ward off, show the palms, show the pushing down here. So keep the fists until you get close to the end, and then make the palms, and you're ending in. Yes, go ahead.
So that's for both hands.
Both hands. Yes.
Till very end.
The more important one is the one that goes up. So this one, the one that goes down, nobody will notice if you open it here versus here. So this is really not that critical. But what I want to make sure is that you don't open the right hand here. Essentially you're showing that punch all the way to here, and then you show the deflect, which is another application meaning.
The left one is a deflect anyway, right? Or
the left, yeah. So the left, what the left does, and actually I'll ask Susan to go through this with us. We'll do it in probably about 5 or 10 minutes. Since Lorraine actually didn't see it last week. So what the left is doing, the left is actually first, it's doing a strip.
Right. Okay.
But once you've done the strip, it's actually a grab and pull down. So, you know, you do the strip, you grab the opponent's arm,
right.
And then you're pulling them down and punching their head as it goes by.
So that, yeah. So you should not open until the very end if you want to show a grab.
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing is, actually, if I'm here and I'm doing a grab from about here, you know, it's already open here, right?
Yeah.
So you could
Okay.
make a very good case that by here it should be open, and that's fine. Okay, let's just practice that a few times, and then we'll talk about the body movement. So let's just practice it together. So we'll start off with empty stance, right foot forward. 7 stars. So 1, step back with body turning, rotate both arms. 2, shift weight back, open the arms, pivot the left heel. Now change footwork, heel to ball, and the arms swing up. Again, we're in 7 stars. Step back, rotate the arms to the side. Pull back, pivot the left heel, circle the arms, change the footwork. Again, 7 stars. Step back with body turning, rotate the arms to the side. Open the arms. Then circle and change footwork. And don't change. What you want to aim for is that your left hand is by your hip, fingertips pointing forward. Yep, and the other hand is over the head. Yeah. The one thing that I just noticed, I just want to make sure we're in sync to the extent that it's available to us. What I want you to focus on is as you step back, you're going to turn your chest, and the left arm is going to be sort of more or less horizontal, and the right arm is going to be this shape. So you're going to go from here to here. Lorraine's going, wait, what? Okay, so like this. Yes, that's right. So Lorraine, if you just take your right arm, just the right arm, it's going to rotate like that. Yeah, yes, in line with your shoulder. That's what you want. So just try that again. So rotate the right arm so that it's in line with your shoulder. Now add the left and keep that pivot point on your left at the same. So you'll see you have to turn your body to the right in order to keep your left hand on top of the right, because you can see the right arm is going to the right and the left arm stays with it. Yeah. So Lorraine, just check that your left palm is facing down. Is that, I can't really see. Yeah, it's good. Yep. Okay, good. That's looking really good. So in terms of the gaze, it's pretty straightforward. My opponent is in front of me. I do the technique. They're in front of me. My gaze doesn't change. There is some waist movement though, because when I'm in 7 stars, my chest is square. When I open, my chest is to the corner. When I step back, my chest is to the corner. When I open, it's even more than corner. Now when I come back, it ends up back to square. So essentially my chest starts square, turns open to the right, and then comes back to square. So this is the pulling down movement, and this is the punch and grab and pull movement. Go ahead.
I know this is different movements, but in many of them it's the waist independently of the hips. But in this case, I think those turns are mostly followed by the hip too, right?
Both are, yes. The waist, the
waist pulls, but the hip
yes
follows.
Yes, and I think one of the way I understand that is turning the waist, the expression is ambiguous.
Right.
Because it's ambiguous in two ways. One is this turning as an axle.
Right.
But the other is the direction that it's pointing. And so I can turn the direction it's pointing by not essentially rotating my lumbar spine, but just moving my hips, which is what you're saying. I think,
Right.
I think as I understand the movement, there is a bit of both. Because yes, when I'm stepping here, you can see my hips are going from
Right.
square to open. So
Right.
my chest doesn't have to do a whole lot. And when I'm coming forward, this turning is again mostly the waist.
Well,
Sorry, mostly the hips, not
mostly the hips. Yeah.
mostly the hips. Yeah. So long story short, I think you're right.
Because if I remember correctly, for instance, cloud hands, you should really focus on the waist doing it, not the hips so much, right? But in this case,
Yes.
it would
Yes.
be the whole thing.
Yes. But in all, but you know, I think it's not an either or
Right.
anywhere really. So let's go back to the one
Okay.
we were talking about a few minutes ago, which is rollback. So here, you know, I could say, you know, you can see I'm doing this movement without moving my hips at all. I can get
Right.
quite a range of movement just using my lower spine. But since I'm moving back, I can also use my hips. You can see here from, if I put
Right.
my hands like this, I can
Right.
actually turn my hips to help. So that
Right.
both of them are happening. They're both
They're
going
happening.
in the same direction.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Great. So I think we're ready to move on. That's looking good to me. Let me just watch you for 1 minute, do the movements, and let me just see if there's anything else we should talk about. One thing I just want to, just a small refinement is, so Lorraine, we were working on this movement, you know, so coming to here. Now that you've got this one, I want you to think about your left arm. I want you to, when the right hand pulls down, I want you to think of your left hand moving horizontally. So it's going horizontally, then it goes down. So it's not just from here going straight down. I want you to feel it's going out and then coming down. It'll make more sense when I show you the application in a minute. But so let's just practice that together, just once or twice. So we're in 7 stars. Nope, this side is better. So step back, rotate both arms. Now, as you pull the right arm back, open the left arm horizontally. As you change footwork, it comes down next to the hip. Let's do that again. 7 stars. Step back, rotate the arms. Left arm is still horizontal. As you pull the right arm down, left arm goes forward horizontally. Then it comes down as you change your footwork. Yep. Good. So let me see. Yes, Susan, I hope will come and help.
Can I ask you something?
Of course.
When you're saying, right now, I thought that in order to achieve this horizontal movement that you were saying, you could actually imagine, because the way I see it is that movement is the one that makes the fist stay where it was.
Yes.
So you could imagine that someone's holding it there, and when you do that, you have to leave it there by extending it.
Yes, you are probably doing a bit of work against the pull. The thing that I was sort of making a comment about this time is what we want to avoid is as the right arm pulls down that we just drop the left arm.
Right.
So it doesn't do this. It goes here. So it doesn't do this.
Uh-huh.
It stays horizontal. It stays in the horizontal. And as you say, yeah, it mostly stays in the same place in space. And then it comes down when we do the strike. So let me just show the application so that Lorraine can see it, which she didn't see last week. Thank you. Okay. so the application is, so let's say Susan grabs here. So as you remember, when we're doing apparent closing up, I can strip by putting my hand underneath. But what I'm going to do now is my hand is going to be on top. So as I step back, I'm going to hold her arm back and pull with this arm here and pull down. Then I'm going to punch up. So the movement is, let's come a little bit closer. Yep. So from here, I would strip, pull down, and punch. So that's what this opening to strip, pulling down, and punching. So that's strike target. Is that clear? Good. So let's talk a little bit about turn body lotus kick. Yes, I will try not to kick Susan's head off her shoulders. Okay, so I'm going to imagine that, we've done ride the tiger, so we're here. We're going to essentially close the arms. Oh, actually, Susan, if you can just step aside, let me just show the movement. So we've done ride the tiger. So I'm going to open the body, cross the arms, pull, step around, and then do a kick. So there's a number of different elements to that. The one is, if my opponent comes in and punches with the right, I'm going to grab them with the left hand. Then I'm going to transfer the grip to my right hand, and I'm going to pull. So again, they're going to punch. I'm going to grab and deflect, transfer the grip to the other hand, and pull. So that's one. When we'll practice, we open, this hand is doing this grab, then this hand takes over. Now this hand is grabbing and it does a pull. So that's why we actually cross the arms and then pull. Let's say I try and do that pull. No, it's a strike. So I try and do the pull. I lose her, but I can come around, and then from here I will do some sort of kick. So I can kick to her kidney. If I can kick high, which I can't, I could kick to the head. Actually from here I could kick the other way too. So the kick that we're doing can come in any of the directions. It's a swing kick. But it's three things then, three techniques that I want you to think about. One is the punch comes in, I'm going to deflect and transfer. Number two, I'm going to do a pull. Then I'm going to turn around and then do some kind of swing kick. So those are the three parts of the technique. Okay, thank you, Susan. So just to think about methods and techniques, you had a question, Rogelio?
Yeah, I was wondering if, I guess like in other turns, if you had opponents coming from any direction, you wouldn't have to do all the turns. You could just stop at halfway or somewhere and do the kick there.
Yes. And actually, if you think about it, I don't know, but what it feels like to me is that this again is a technique, is a part of the form that's combining different techniques. So one is, this deflect, essentially this capture, transfer the grip and pull is one technique. A completely different technique is the spin kick. They're just different, but we happen to put them together here because we're starting from this position. And so, Rain, one of the things we were talking about after class last week is that what we'll do in July and August is actually look at techniques that show up in different parts of the form, and we'll play games of doing transitions that we're not used to doing. And so this is this is a way of doing a transition and showing a technique. So the other thing I just want, before we get into the details, let's just think about the methods and martial art techniques that we're talking about here. So we're doing a grab, we're doing a transfer, we're doing a pull. We've seen that before. We've done all of those techniques earlier in the form. What's new here, though, is that this is the third kick, which, so as you know, we've got the so-called toe kick, which actually is not the toe, it's the top of the. Then we've got the heel kick or the stomp kick, which is down and can be in all sorts of directions. Now this one is essentially a circling kick. So this one, it's a swing kick. It can go from this side this way. It can also go this way. It can also go behind you. If you watch Master Young Jin doing it, there's endless variations. The one we're practicing is the swing kick, which essentially goes to the inside and back around the outside. So let's practice. Actually, let's work through the different parts and pieces, and I'll show you an exercise that you can use if you want to sort of strengthen your legs and practice the kick, but we'll get there in a little bit. So let's begin. I'm going to practice in the same direction you, and we're just going to focus on the footwork. So we've done step back and ride the tiger. So we're in an empty stance, left leg forward. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn to the right, keeping the weight on the right foot and pivoting on the ball of the left foot. So you can see that my right foot is still grounded, my left foot is pivoting. When I can't go any further, I'm probably looking towards the corner. I keep my weight on the right and now pivot my right foot so that it points to the other corner. Then I'm going to step around and land on the right foot. Heel first, and ideally you want to land with your right foot sort of diagonally in front of your left foot so that you can pick it up and do your kick. So let's just do that footwork again, and then we'll come to the kick later. So you've got 70% of your weight on the right leg. Keep your weight on the right leg as you turn to the right, pivot on the left foot. Now you're looking at the front right corner. Keep pivoting on the right foot. Turn the right foot to the back right corner. Now step around, landing on the left heel, and stand up. Again. So we're empty stance, left foot forward, most of the weight on the right. Turn to the right, keep the weight on the right, pivot on the ball of the left foot. So the left foot is pointing to the front right corner. Now pivot the right foot on the ball through 90 degrees. Step around, landing on the heel of the left foot, stand up, and then you'll do the kick. How's that working? Yes, go ahead.
What would be, in fact, the way I was doing it, and I don't know if there is a problem with that, after you turn the left foot as much as you could,
yes,
transferring a little weight backwards in order to rotate the other one.
So what you're trying to do when you say, so I've essentially got 100% of my weight on the right foot, which is the back foot. I'm going to keep it. When you say transfer back, you mean transfer to the left foot?
Why can't you go backwards a little bit in order to spin that? Not that much, but a little bit.
I suppose you can. Master Young Jin, when he teaches it, it sort of underlines that we should keep the weight on the right if we can. And I think one of the reasons for that is, I'll do it this way. So you're when you've turned So let's say I've turned to here. I want to have the weight on the right because instead of doing my swing around, I can just come right back. So I'm actually storing energy to punch back this way. That's another thing that you can do here. You can almost think of, you know, bend bow strike tiger, going back the original direction. So if you can, you know, if you need to, of course, shift the weight, but try and keep the weight on the right. Yes, go ahead, Lorraine.
If I can't swing my left leg around, can I just walk?
Yes, absolutely, no problem. And in fact, you know, when you are, you know, if you can't come around, so what Rogelio said is an accommodation. So if you're on, your weight is on the right, you turn and you want to, and you can't actually turn your right foot without reducing the weight on it, bring your left foot around, turn the right foot, put your weight back, and then you can walk it around, but make sure that your left foot is pointing to the side at the end. That's where you're aiming. So just make sure that you get there.
Okay.
Okay.
So in a way, you're rotating like in that kick near the end of the second section, right?
So turn body left heel kick, so from the left heel to the right heel kick.
Right.
This one? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very similar.
Similar feeling.
Yeah,
with all
similar
the
feeling. And the reason why it's a similar feeling in several ways is in both cases we're turning on the right, and then we're moving the weight onto the left. So that means the turn on the right is going to be a turn on the ball, because when we transfer the weight at the end, we spin on the ball. When we turn and just keep the weight, it's a spin on the heel. And then the other way in which it's similar is when we land, we want to land with the heel probably, because it's just like walking. You know, when we're walking, it's heel ball, toe. So we'll land on the heel and go onto the ball. Same in both cases.
Good, thank you.
Okay, let's leave the kick for the moment and do the arm movements for the turn body, and then we'll do the lotus kick later. So again, so we've done the ride the tiger. So open the arms, turn the body to the right, arms are level and open. Close the arms, right under left. Don't spin yet. So the arms crossed are in the direction to the side. So I'm here, I'm going to open my body slightly, but I'm going to cross in this forward direction. Now I'm crossed. Now I'm going to pull open with the right. So let's see if you can, yeah, it's probably easier from here. I'll show you here. I'm going to cross, and then I'm going to pull to the right. The left is not going to move. I'm from here, the right is going to pull. And what you've got, that's looking great, Lorraine, is when you're pulling, the pulling hand is sitting and the other hand is flat, which exactly is what you've got. Okay, so let's do that. So we're empty stance, left leg forward. Open both arms, level. Cross, level in front of you. Now pull to the right and start turning. The first checkpoint is your arm, your right arm is to the corner, you've turned to the corner. You can't turn anymore on your right foot. Now pivot on your right heel, your right arm goes to the other corner. Now step around with the left foot and you end up with your right arm back to the first corner. Yep, let's do it again. So we've done ride the tiger. Yes. Body opening, arms level, circle, right under left. Now, pull to the right with the right arm. Turn, weight on the right now, pivot on the right, ball to the third corner, step around, stand up. Okay, let me just add a couple of things. So I think you're okay. I'm not watching, I can't see the corner of my eye that well, but we're going to, when we start, the left hand is slightly sitting because this is the one that's grabbing. Then the right hand grabs, so now the right hand is sitting. The left hand is flat, and it's going to stay in this position all the way around. When you've finished, you're going to start here, cross, turn, step around. You're going to stand up. Your right arm is going to be to the front left corner, which is the same direction as your knee, right? So that's where you're going to end up. Yep, let's just do that. I think I'm seeing nods, so I think we're good. Strike tiger, ending posture. So with body turning, arms open, leveling, crossed, looking to the side. Now, pull with the right, keep the weight on the right foot as you pivot the left ball of the foot. Keep turning, step around, stand up, right arm to the front left corner. You're standing up. Yep. Okay. Now, one more thing here. Something which, depending on where you are, maybe you are there already, maybe you have to work on it. We want to not have stops as we turn. So try and keep the turn continuous all the way around. So your hand is moving at the same speed all the way around. It's not stopping and starting. So let's just try that and think about your right arm sort of painting a dot on the walls at the constant speed. So we're, yep, good. Arms open, arms cross in your looking direction. Now, pull with the right. Keep that right hand moving at a constant speed as you turn around, and it stops when it gets to the front left corner. Yep. And to the front left corner, the arm's shape is like this. Okay. Are we ready to do the kick? Ready to do the kick. Okay. I think we need to spend more time digging into this. We'll spend more time on this next week. But I just want to show you the kick, and let's practice it a few times. So, I'm still going to use the same directions as you. I've turned around. I'm standing on my left leg to the side. Right arm is here. I'm going to swing my leg, straighten the leg. It's going to swing around and end up back in the same direction. So drop your right leg. It swings to the left, comes around, and ends up in the same direction that it started in. Yep. And what I noticed you were doing, which is really very nice, and I just want to underline it, is just a couple of things that will help. As soon as you've straightened your leg, start your swing. Don't straighten your leg and wait. Your balance will go to heck. So straighten your leg and go immediately. The other thing which I want you to pay attention to is that when you swing it, don't bring the leg down and then lift the knee up again. You're going to swing it as high as you can and then just bend the knee. So straighten the leg, swing, keep the thigh up, but bend the knee to bring the leg down. Just like that. Very nice, Rogelio. Yeah, very nice. Now we're going to add the arms. So we start with the arms to the right. As we do the swing kick, we're going to change the arms to the left. So we start with the arms to the right, and then as we swing, they go to the left. The trick, the thing, there's so much going on here. Remember, the long arm is sitting. The curved arm is flat. They're going to change positions. So now the other arm will be sitting and this arm will now be flat. So remember to change which one is sitting and which one is flat. Let me show you an exercise. If you want to practice that this week, you can use a bucket or a trash can, and if necessary, use something for your balance to hold on to. So what you can do is hold on to something if you need to, straighten the leg, touch on one side of your bucket, bring your leg over, touch on the other side of the bucket, bend the knee. Straighten, touch on one side, bring it across the top, touch on the other side, straighten. And do that, 3 times or 5 times or 50 times or whatever. And then remember to do it on the other side. So straighten the leg, cross, touch, bring it over, touch, bring it up. Straighten, touch, touch on the other side, bring it over, bring it up. And so this is a way of gradually strengthening your lift of your thighs to get the kick a little bit higher every time. Go ahead.
Is there a meaning and application for that change side of the arms, that to turn the grabbing from one side to the other?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
What we are, if we can, what we are trying to do with that kick, and so one of the things that's part of the standard way it's performed, is that as we do the swing, we tap. When Master Young-Jin does it, his foot is at head height. So he actually taps his foot as it goes past. So his foot swings up to the head, and the hands coming over go tap, tap on his foot. And then it goes to the other side. For me, I can pretty much manage my thigh. So tap, tap. And if all you can do is just do a low swing, just remind yourself that you're doing the pat, you can bring down, just pat, pat, and go to the other side. And I do not know what the application meaning of that pat, pat is. I think it's just showiness, but I don't know.
Okay. But in theory, the arm movement should not go down. You just go down because you cannot rise.
No, that's right. No, because if you can do it the way Master Young-Jin does it, his foot is at face height. So, the top of his feet, which is what he's tapping, is at shoulder height. So his arm just goes from here all the way here. From here, tap, tap, and then ends up on this side. Most of us can't do that.
But let's say if you can reach the knee, that's fine. And
you can, yeah. And so what I try to do is, I can start with the thigh, then I can go for the knee, and then some days, better days, I can get to the shin. Mm-hmm. And so I see how far I can get.
Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Great.
We're out of time today. We'll practice this more next week. But we're on the downhill now, and the rest of the movements are, we've got Benbow Shooting Tiger, which is a nice movement, and all the rest are known movements. 同学们，再见。
老师，再见。